Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 2 of our interview series here at the Lightpole Podcast. Interview 1 with Wiley was a rousing success, and fans have been eagerly waiting for the second installment. Now, as customary with these interviews, the entire episode is dedicated to the guests, so this week we won't be discussing entertainment news or our usual show reviews, but make sure to come back next week for those topics. So clearly by the title of this episode, you all know who we will be interviewing tonight. And it is the Titan of Tights, the Debonair Devil, the son of Suits, the Mac Daddy of Meriden, Crystal's husband, and the fancy fitness gram pacer test lover, Kyler Torres. Come on out, Kyler. There it is. Good man. Look at him.
Nice.
Let's get the crowd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Social distancing out here with the crowd.
Yeah.
6 feet.
The whole fitness gram pacer testing I could have done without.
No,
Could have, but
it's a staple on this podcast. So
it's just something we need.
yeah.
How you been,
Thank you guys
Kyler? How's
for,
the
for
family?
having me on the show, man. It's good to be here. It's really good to be here. I'm a huge fan of the show. Been listening since the first episode, and you guys are doing
Oh,
a
wow.
really, really good job.
True fan.
Yeah.
True fan.
Yeah. No, when my agent called me earlier this week to say that you guys wanted to interview me, I put all my other projects on hold because I knew I had to be on here, man. This is really good.
This is why you're a fan favorite, Kyler. You know, this is
For
why.
those watching, I'm Joey, and that's Wiley.
Yes. How you doing?
Continue, host.
Thank you.
Put a stop to
that
that.
extremely obnoxious interruption that was coming next. All right, but Joey, since you wanted to get to the introductions so fast, why don't you kick off the interview?
All right, so here we have entertainment. So here we have the first question. Kyler, we're gonna go back to the past, right? We're gonna go to your childhood. All right.
Uh-oh.
Now, first question: what were your best and worst subjects in school?
Worst subjects, 100% math. Never really came easy to me. Is our host
I'm
okay?
sorry for our listeners. Our host Darian's dying in the background.
Had some
Went down the
mouth
wrong
issues.
We're good.
Cut to commercial.
I agree with you on math.
We'll be right back
I-
after this.
I dislike math. I was good at it, but I hated it.
Really?
Yeah. Science was a hit or a miss. I was pretty good with like biology and all that stuff. Physics, I absolutely tanked. The only thing I learned that entire year was everything falls to Earth at 10 meters per second squared. And that was my answer to every question they asked. Literally,
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. History, obviously, was one of my favorites. I think we've talked about that a few times.
Yeah.
And I've always been pretty good with English as well. I like to read a lot. Vocabulary, all that stuff. I enjoyed that. So
All right,
Nice.
Wiley, why don't you? We'll go in this order then.
Of course, yeah. So, Kyler, we had mentioned back in my interview that this particular friend group goes way back. So, what were some of the things that you enjoyed doing with your friends? What were your favorite things to do back when we were growing up?
growing up like little kids growing up.
Yeah. Or
Dude,
I
general.
touch on all of it, dude.
We can go middle. We can
I-
go
yeah,
elementary,
no, it's-
middle,
okay.
high. Yeah.
Honestly, sleepovers at Dee's house were always a riot. Darian has a basement, a finished basement with a futon that we would usually hang out in, play video games, watch movies, stuff like that until about 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh
Yeah.
Where Darian would fall asleep first every time and leave us without any kind of blankets or pillows.
Accurate.
So we'd sleep on the carpet, bare like that.
You
See,
always
carpet?
And you would kind
Dude, I
of
was on the
know.
hardwood floor.
You would know it was coming because he would be like, "Oh, let me go grab my favorite pillow. Let me go grab my favorite blanket. Let me go grab my favorite. Let me go to my
Lying.
favorite spot and let me knock out and just leave you guys to fend for yourselves for the rest of the night."
See,
And
let me explain.
Darian
I'm
was
a
a
lightweight.
hardcore lightweight.
I'm a lightweight. And when it comes time to sleep, I appreciate my sleep more than very few things in life. I hate being woken up abruptly, you know.
Darian can sleep through World War III. He's
It's
one
a
of the
beautiful
heaviest
thing.
sleepers I've ever met.
hey, I'm not gonna lie to you,
Yeah.
I'm the same way though.
Yeah.
My wife hates it. I sleep through anything.
I could sleep through it all. That's why I have like 30 alarms in the morning every 3 minutes.
Me too. Me too.
Now-
Oof.
Yep.
The summer, Wiley, for our listeners, is a little less than a year older than Darian and I. 6 months older than Darian. So Darian and I were in the same grade for all of our school and all that stuff. So the summer, I don't know if you remember well, obviously I'm sure you do, where we went to freshman year, Darian and I, and we stayed at your place, and we agreed that whoever fell asleep first would have to be punished in some way that we would decide.
Vividly, I remember this.
The ones who were awake would decide what would happen to the person asleep.
Now, I don't know why I agreed to this. It's like
It was obvious that it was.
I mean, me
you.
and Kyler gave each other that look, like we knew what was gonna go down. So like,
it's like being in a wheelchair and agreeing to a foot race. It doesn't. You know what the outcome is going to be, and unfortunately,
Darian knocked out, and Wiley just busted out the magic markers and the Sharpies, and we went to town on poor Darian's face.
I wish we had pictures.
Oh
of
my
this.
goodness,
Uh,
I do.
Kyler
I'll
still
send them
has
to you.
Kyler has them somewhere.
yeah.
And the worst part was when we were done, we drew all over his face, his arms. We wrote
We're talking
check
signatures.
Tracing
mirror.
his
We signed
birthmark.
forehead.
Tracing his
The
birthmark.
signature birthmark.
And you woke me up. The one way that I hate.
Took
There-
forever. We tried waking you up for a solid 3 minutes.
It was like 3 a.m. I don't wake up easy at 9 a.m. So imagine 3 a.m. And I absolutely hate when people touch my face or like we'll do that, like, slapping thing. These guys wake me up and they're just wailing. I'm just like, yo, wake up.
There was no other way.
We
The
tried
reason-
dropping your own hand on your face and you didn't wake up.
Now the
So
reason.
what are we gonna do?
The
Why,
reason
why
we woke
did you
him up-
wake me up?
Yeah.
So you could see our handiwork.
Oh no, because when we were done after like about
Yep.
half hour to an hour of drawing on this poor guy's face,
Oh, and we recorded it.
and we recorded
We
it.
were recording
There was
the
a
whole
full
time.
video. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know where it is, but it is out there.
When we were done, we look at the markers and realize they are permanent. Now, I mean, you've all grown up, you've all drawn on yourselves at one point. You realize permanent marker is hard to take out on your skin.
Clarification. And it's in the recording. I'm drawing on Darian's face. I'm like shading in hardcore. I think we gave him a unibrow. And I'm
Remember, you gave me a
going
red
in.
nose like
Yep.
a clown.
Yep.
And then I look at the marker and I say, "Oh my God, Wiley, these markers are permanent."
Yep.
And on the video, all you hear is Wiley say, "Yeah." Like, you didn't know
You're
that?
terrible.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even think
And
about it. I was just like,
"Holy
whatever.
Crap, I don't think I would have done this if I knew it was permanent. But then I was like, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's just finish. So we did.
Yeah.
Dude, and then they wake me up and they're like, go to the bathroom and whatnot. So I go and I got signatures on my face and a clown nose and a unibrow and my birthmark traced
Oh my
and all this
gosh.
crazy. And it took a while.
Yeah.
And I was just in the bathroom like scrubbing and I gave up. I was like, I want to sleep. Like, I'll deal with this in the morning. I just want to sleep.
He did it in the morning.
Yeah, I was like, I'll deal with this
So
in the morning.
mad.
Unreal.
That was
so
fun.
yeah, those are good days. Six Flags, going to like the amusement parks and stuff like that. That was always
Yep.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. So, question, Kyler. What are, in your opinion, as the only one here who was in this situation growing up of being an only child, the pros and cons?
Well, I have a good imagination. So, I mean, playing on my own with like my action figures and my Lego and stuff like that, it wasn't really that boring because I'd come up with these like ridiculous scenarios in my head and stuff, and I'd take care of that. But my dad was always pretty good at, because I live right across the street from an elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a playground out there, a really big field. So he'd always take me out there and we'd play football or baseball, or he would absolutely demolish me in a race and make fun of me running backwards and laughing at
There
me
you
the
go.
whole time.
Healthy.
But they were both of my parents, my mom as well, were always really good at, because I have always lived furthest away from the rest of the guys. I live in Meriden. They've all lived in Waterbury, Bridgeport, or Wiley for Bridgeport for a little bit, Bristol. Minimum half-hour driving, so they were pretty good at driving me over for play dates, I guess. Is that a cool word to
I
use?
guess
Whack,
so.
bro.
To
It's not
hang out.
play days.
Chill,
We were
chill
hanging out.
hangs with the boys.
Yeah.
Phil
was
Sessions,
chilling.
right? Yeah. So it wasn't really half bad, to be honest.
There you go.
Well, what are some cons though? The things that
Um,
you absolutely, disliked, or were you jealous, envious of other people who had siblings?
Playing video games by myself got lonely sometimes. I didn't get a PlayStation, or actually I didn't get an Xbox until I think my like
I feel you.
sophomore junior year of high
Dude,
school, so I
that is
didn't do any
true.
kind
I
of
think your
online
first,
gaming.
your first console
Yeah.
was the Wii, I think,
Was the
wasn't it?
Wii, right?
Well, my first console was the Wii, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Your mom, I went with your
playing
mom to get it in Puerto Rico.
Transformers.
I remember.
yeah. So that part kind of sucked. I couldn't really play with the rest of my friends for a while. I didn't get a PlayStation until I think after I graduated, to be honest. I think I was a month or two after graduation when I bought my first PlayStation.
I think you're right. Yeah.
PS4, yeah.
So that part kind of sucked. Always playing by myself on my different games and stuff like that. Honestly, though, that's pretty much it. I mean, my parents asked me when I was about like 5, I think, if I wanted a sibling, because that's when they were considering maybe if they were going to do it, it'd be then. And I was just like, nah, I'm okay.
Imagine leaving that up to your
I don't want-
5-year-old.
I don't want to share all these presents.
Do you want us
Well,
to have
I'm-
another
okay.
child?
So I'm the only child, and I'm also the only grandson and nephew on both sides
wow.
of the family.
Wow. You're right.
So I have a lot of cousins.
That's a lot of
But-
responsibility.
The whole grandchild, I kind of had that on lock.
Mm.
So that was pretty nice. I had it.
That's
I had
good
it
for
made
gifts
there.
and stuff. Tell you that much.
Yeah, that part was okay. I mean, my parents always made sure that they didn't let my grandparents get too carried away. My grandfather especially, because my grandfather collects
With
action figures. So his basement and all the places that he used to live was like a toy store, literally.
Literally.
But I was never allowed to touch anything. So what
Look-
had happened is he'd see the
Look
toy
with
that
your
I wanted to
hands,
play
touch
with.
with your eyes.
and-
It never made any
Mhm.
sense to me.
No. He'd always
Uh.
look at whatever toy I really, really, really wanted to play with, and then he'd like go and buy it. But my parents put a stop to that pretty quick.
Does he still have all of those?
Yeah. They're in
Oh,
storage
dope.
now. But yeah,
Jeez.
it's a good chunk of change in all those. Some of those are like really like mint condition.
Especially,
Yeah.
especially right now, where like comics and comic book movies and all that is popping off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true. Does he have any comics? Imagine if he had like #1 issue
He
comics
has
and
a
stuff.
he has a box. I looked through all of them one time. He gave me the box and I went through and I was looking them all up and stuff like that to check the value. None of them are like crazy, like worth like a hidden gem or something like that worth thousands of dollars or anything like that. But he's got some pretty entertaining ones in there that I hadn't read before. So I spent like a whole summer doing that one time.
That's pretty cool. I remember me and Joey tried to get into like buying actual physical copies of comics.
Mm,
They're so expensive today.
it's insane. Yeah. I just
They're-
They're
I
in a cool little poster thing for his graduation.
Yeah.
That's it.
no I
Yeah.
subscribed to Marvel Unlimited for a few
little
years, and that's where I got all like my Star Wars comics, and I did the Spider-Man, the Miles Morales arc. I read all those and all that stuff. So I got a little dent in there, but then I got married, so
Tiny
I got rid of
dent.
that.
It
Unfortunate.
happens. Yeah.
Shifting a little bit more into the negativity of your childhood. What
Oh,
are
great.
What a segue.
It's so
I know.
accurate that you're asking me this question.
I know. What is one embarrassing moment of your childhood, or one
Oh, just
memorable
one?
moment?
Mm.
Yeah.
What's your
Or
go-to?
give us, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. What's the first
Go
one that
to.
pops into your head?
Probably the time my dad gave me a swirly in a diner bathroom at like 2:00 in the morning when I was like 2.
Yeah, but that was accidental. But you were two.
Yeah,
You
there's-
don't remember that. What's one that you
Well, there's-
remember feeling embarrassed about?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. There's a
No,
lot.
I
that
think
we
I'll just leave that. I think I'll just
that,
leave that
no,
there.
there's a
just said a lot.
multitude of things.
Do you,
Yeah,
do you want
2
me
in
to
the
go into
morning.
story?
You might as well.
Okay.
I'm sure the viewers
So-
are interested now.
Yeah.
It was a big party that there was a whole bunch of people. There was like a few hundred people. It was insane. I was 2. The party ended, but a whole bunch of people decided to go out and eat afterward at a diner. 2:00 in the morning. I had to go to the bathroom. My dad offered to take me. My mom said that she would do it. And my dad was like, no, I can take care of it. I can handle it. He's my son. I got this. He didn't have it. It's a diner, 2:00 in the morning. So he's holding me. Sanitary.
Oh my goodness.
Puts me down, goes to pull up my pants. And he says, and I'm sure we'll get a YouTube comment from him about this.
Shout out
He
Castbox.
says that
shout out.
he misjudged my weight. He thought I was heavier. But I debate that because he was just holding me over the toilet. So he had a pretty good estimation.
Yeah.
He went to pull up my pants and overcompensated. And I went up and into the toilet.
He yeeted you into pee water.
Well, he doesn't
Kyler
remember
got-
if he flushed or not.
Kyler got yeeted.
But- I mean,
Why would?
I'm a small guy and I was a very small kid. So I went down like to my shoulders into that bowl.
Kyler as 2-year-old was the exact same size he is right now. So-
Yeah, you see, the crazy thing with Kyler is that this kid had his growth spurt at 4.5 years old and was taller than any of us. He was like,
I
"Goo, goo,
literally,
gaga."
I have looked exactly like this and sounded exactly like this since I was 10.
Yeah,
And
Yeah, no,
everyone
legit.
told me, all the doctors told me I was going to be like 6'4". I'm not. I'm 5'7". And I just stopped at 10.
This man
And
was
that was
like
it.
in 7th grade, and we're like, "Yo, he's gonna be a giant," and
Yeah.
literally, like, that's all that.
I
Happened.
got like the hair under my arms and all that stuff. And I was like,
Jeez.
this feels weird. And my mom's like, yeah, this probably isn't going to sound. I mean, it happened so fast. I have stretch marks on my knees, which I didn't know could happen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He-
it was
I-
literally
I-
one summer.
I remember we were at I forget whose house it was that did the service group on Saturdays when we did book study before. I think
Rene?
it was Rene Rios.
Rene
Yes.
Rios, yeah.
Rios.
So we
Rios.
were walking out after the group, and my mom goes, "Kyler, you are so tall," and I'm standing there with my little chunky self, and I'm like, "He's not that tall, all right? He's not that tall." He didn't really hit a growth spurt. And she was
Oh,
like,
man.
"This
I
is
was-
insane."
I was the tallest one out of all of us for like
Yeah.
5
For like a
years,
solid
and
5 or
now-
6 years. Yeah. Like,
Now I'm the shortest.
and then Darian
tables
was
have turned.
opposite
Yeah.
side of the spectrum, where he was like. He
Really
was like 5'5" for those like 5 or 6 years.
I was
He was
small.
You
5'5" until like 3 months ago.
we didn't see you for like 2 months, and then all of a sudden you were taller than all of us. And I was like, "What in the world is
Yeah.
this?"
I hit one of those crazy growth
I
spurts
suffered the same fate.
in
as
high
you.
school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joe, but you stretched out. You got real skinny when it happened too.
Yeah.
I didn't have that.
I just remember my mom just telling me like, oh no, like you're gonna keep going, like you're gonna, guys don't usually stop growing until they're like 21, so you still have time and stuff.
You
I'm
always
like,
hear that.
I think this is it. I'm content. That's okay. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not like awkwardly small.
no,
And,
you
yeah, it
can't
just
stress
never
about
happened.
the things you can't control. That's
Yeah.
that's what it is for me.
I'm all right.
So,
All right.
I found a smaller wife, so that's all that matters.
exactly. There you go.
Besides that swirly story, is there any other embarrassing moment that you actually remember that you think you can think of?
I do vaguely remember that one.
Oh, okay.
But
Right.
yeah. Young, I mean, I spoke about the one where I totally mistook
Yeah.
a woman
Yep.
for someone else that I knew, and that was pretty bad. I almost got into a fist fight in Florida when I was like 15 with a grown man.
Oh,
That was
really?
pretty awkward. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I have a lot of family in Florida. My aunt, who's only 4 years older than me. So that's my dad's sister, and we grew up more like siblings. She lives in Florida. She lives in Orlando. She got married, so we were over there visiting her. And she used to work at a mall, and we were visiting her at work. And there was this guy. We were outside. There was this guy there, really, really big dude, and he was on the phone. And I don't know what happened. I don't know how it escalated to that point, but he just looks at me. We make eye contact, and I just kind of give him like a nod, like, "Oh, what's up? I'm 15. I'm cool. I'm tough."
True.
I wasn't trying to be like a bad guy,
Yeah,
like all big and
bravado.
bad and everything.
Mhm.
He was
But
trying to be a tough guy.
He took it a different way, and he squared up to me and really, really wanted to rip me apart.
What?
Now, my aunt is maybe 5 feet tall. My mom, I think, is 5'2", so pretty small.
Yeah.
But they're both Puerto Rican and very, very fiery. So they came to my rescue and just immediately started just yelling at him so loud and like just belittling him. And it was the cringiest thing. And then at the same time, there was like a tour bus full of like 4-year-old kids coming from
Nice.
Disney with the Mickey Mouse hats, and they were just crossing right in front of everything. It was like something out of like a really bad sitcom.
Sitcom, yeah.
And it was pretty cringe. So yeah, I just kind of just shrank into myself and
that's more
wanted to
embarrassing
die.
for the guy, though. I mean, how are you gonna square up with a minor?
Yeah, what an acorn.
A
dude.
young, naive.
Well,
Yeah, that was
let's-
weird. I never
Let's
got an
all
explanation.
remember, Kyler looked exactly like this, so he probably thought
Yeah,
he was
that's
a
true.
20-something-year-old.
Okay, you're right.
Let's
My mistake.
let's
My
backtrack
mistake.
here.
True.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. So now, when we were young, we all wanted to be something. I mean, I said I wanted to be a teacher, but that got me nowhere. What did you want to be when you were growing up?
Indiana Jones.
I was just gonna say like a historian or something.
Indiana
No,
Jones.
That does
honestly,
seem pretty accurate.
Yeah.
anything having to do with history, I've always been obviously super fascinated with. But honestly, I actually wanted to be a carpenter. I mentioned earlier I was really big into Lego. I still am. I love Lego. I have a friend's
Yep.
cafe Lego set right over here.
I have
Um,
office.
It's just so expensive today. I don't know why they.
Yeah,
So annoying.
It's
It blew up.
insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, doing that all the time, I figured I was like, when I grow up, I could do this in real life with just bigger pieces of blocks. And I went to a tech school, saying, okay, it's a done deal. I'm gonna come in here. You have to go through exploratory, so you have to try all the shops. But I was like, it's already settled. I'm gonna take carpentry, and that's what I'm gonna do. And then I got to carpentry, and I hated it. It was so boring. I couldn't stand it.
Really?
And I ended up picking electrical. Yeah.
And didn't you have a heart attack?
Okay, you know
Always
what?
told me this. He always says
That
guys,
might actually. I forgot about that. That might be one of the most embarrassing.
I didn't
ones.
forget.
So I'm gonna supplement that to flesh out the rest of that story. I didn't have a heart
I
attack.
completely forgot about that. What the heck?
I remember
Yeah.
you coming to the next meeting and telling us about it. I remember.
Yeah.
It wasn't a heart attack. Okay, so we live in New England, in Connecticut. Winters can get pretty cold. As I just mentioned, I went to a tech school, and part of being in a tech school, you actually go out on jobs, depending on your shop, depending on your trade, and you actually work on actual projects. And my school actually got a contract to build a house from scratch, which was pretty crazy. But I mean, we're building it from the ground up. So for a while, it was just studs. Now, New England, winter, it's like January. It's like 10 degrees outside, plus wind, plus no walls. So it gets pretty cold.
Mm.
I'm cold. I have a jacket on and everything like that. But when you're breathing in that cold air, what happens to your chest? It like tightens up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I made a comment about that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my shop teacher was right behind me, and he said, "You're having a heart attack." I look at him
Wow.
in the eye and I
At
say,
14 years old.
No. This was like either junior or senior year.
Oh, yeah. So, like
So I'm already
17,
like, I think I was
16,
17.
17. Yeah.
And he goes, "You're having a heart attack." And I'm like, no, it's cold. And he goes, "No, you're having a heart attack. I'm calling 911.
It's because he wanted to get out
And I
of
say,
it. That's all.
Don't
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that. Do not call 911. I'm fine. It's just really, really cold." And he proceeds to pull out his phone and call 911.
Oh my
Ambulance
goodness.
shows up. They take my pulse and stuff like that. They do the whole like EKG thing. They're like, "You're fine." And I say, "I know." They say, "How old are you?" 17. "Well, unfortunately, you're not old enough. You're not 18, so you're not legal guardian of like yourself. You can't make your own decision. You're in the care of the school, so we have to take you to the hospital.
Jeez.
We're going to take you to the ambulance now. So as I'm walking to the ambulance, all of my classmates are taking pictures of me walking to the ambulance, being escorted by 2 paramedics. I get to the ambulance. They say, okay, well, you're going to have to sit on the stretcher. I'm like, okay. We don't have to strap you down or anything. Close the doors. They start driving. Actually, the roads are a little bumpy. So because of insurance and all that stuff, we're going to have to strap you down. Strap me down. Wheel me into the emergency room. A doctor, like a surgeon, comes up and like, oh, what's the problem? And they're like, nothing. Like, why is he here? It was like, it was cold. He had chest pain. Okay, wheel him into the waiting room and call his mom.
Yeah.
And then we got hit with like $1,000 ambulance bill.
Shame.
That my mom just really casually slid over to the office.
Good on her. Yeah.
The next day.
Bring it to the school.
Yeah.
Probably need Medicare
So,
for all.
Wrong with that
So-
teacher.
That was
That's
pretty awkward.
terrible. I sort of recall you falling off a ladder and
Getting
busting
3
your,
times.
and busting your head open on like a metal.
Yep.
I did split my head open. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
that
why I was
fun.
shocked when you said electrician. I was like, you're gonna die. There's no other way this is gonna end. Next week, a month, a year, but you're gonna die.
Bye bye, Kylie.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not an actual electrician now. I never finished my apprenticeship, so luckily for me, now I just work with really
why
sharp
we have
blades
you.
that are made to cut cows in half. So that's
Well,
safer.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That is the perfect segue because I'm not gonna ask the next question on this list. I
Why
don't know who
not?
added that one.
Why not?
We're
I'll
just gonna
ask
move
it.
on.
I'll ask
But
it.
I'll let you ask that.
Kyler. Okay.
Go ahead.
you-
Go ahead. No.
Yeah,
Now I'm nervous.
Kyler. Now,
Wiley.
it is sort of a well-known fact, at least between the family and some very close friends,
Well, now the world.
that you have a very strong opinion about feet. Right?
That's confirmation.
Am I correct? Right? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I would like to know, because we have not talked about this in a very long time.
To clarify, feet are gross.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
sweaty
There you
and
go.
they smell and they should be amputated
All right.
at birth.
There you go.
Continue.
There's your answer.
So-
Wiley.
Just thumbs up.
I want to know, since marriage, has that opinion changed at all?
Clearly
Only in regards to one person.
Okay. All right. I just
And that is your father, Tony, and the love you have for him.
Oh my God, no.
especially Tony's feet. You don't want to go
Oh man.
No.
Yeah, those. Yeah.
Oh.
No.
For the listeners,
doesn't
we're
wanna
just gonna
die.
leave that there.
Yeah. So Kyler,
And my
Back-
mom actually works in the spa industry, so you'd think that
He'd
he'd
be
be more
used to
open to like
everything.
letting her fix him, but
one would
for
think.
her best efforts, yeah, no.
So you mentioned, the job that you have now. You cut cows in half, something like that.
No, I don't. I don't work in a slaughterhouse.
Well,
It makes the machines that go to slaughterhouses. Yeah.
Yes.
potato, semantics. What would be your dream job if you could have any job today?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know what? This is gonna sound really out of left field. Either something having to do with archaeology. I would absolutely love to do something like that.
So Jason,
Or something having to do with, and this is probably more recently. I don't even know what the job technically would be, like dealing with the study of ancient, like extinct cultures and stuff
so like dark
that.
magic, kind of like voodoo studies.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, like a necromancer. Yeah.
Freak.
What in the world is happening? I
No,
believe there is a term for that. I don't know what the
I don't know what
terminology
it would
is.
be called,
Yeah.
but that would be amazing. I've been nonstop listening to podcasts, mostly honestly about like folklore from different cultures and stuff like that, and just listening to like the old stories from Egypt, from Scandinavia, from the Slavic countries and stuff like that. I actually, in 2 days, I taught myself how to read and write in runic, which
Really?
is yeah.
Throw that
It's
on
actually
the useless
a lot of
talents
fun.
list.
I know, yeah.
What is that? What is runic?
Runic is the language used by ancient Nords. So in the old Scandinavian countries,
Vikings and-
Vikings, yeah,
Yeah.
you can say that.
Why? Why
Oh,
would
they're-
you learn that?
Well, podcasts and stuff like that I haven't listened to. It's super easy. It's all lines because they would carve it.
Oh,
And they
I've seen
can't
that. Yep.
like round edges or anything like that. So it's just all like
Yep.
lines and stuff. And yeah, it's super easy. So now I know how to read and write in Runic,
It's pretty cool.
which I will never be able to use in any.
That's like people
official
learning
capacity.
Latin now. There's literally no
Yeah,
use
exactly.
For it, so
I'd love, honestly, I'd actually really like to learn Latin. That'd be really
pretty
cool.
interesting, but
But
it's a dead
yeah.
language, so it's like
Yeah, exactly. You'd be better off learning Spanish, Italian, French, the love languages, that kind of stuff.
Crystal and I are actually taking French classes on Duolingo.
Really?
awesome. I
Yeah.
want to do
yeah.
Au
Portuguese.
revoir, Susana.
Hate you.
Goodbye, Susanna.
All right. The real ones will know where that is from. If
Okay.
I'll save
Does,
you.
does anyone else here know what that's from?
I do.
I don't know. I
from
didn't
Inglourious-
understand that
okay.
reference.
you know what,
Okay.
Anyway,
Joseph knows. That's all
Continue
that
with the
matters.
questions.
talking about good times. What do you like to do in your spare time? What are your hobbies?
Well, I have a dog now, so walking the dog is something that takes up a lot of time now. Honestly, Crystal and I think we mentioned it before. We take turns with shows that we choose. So I watch a lot of TV. I love movies, obviously part of this podcast. Listening to podcasts while I work. I've been working a lot of overtime, 10-hour days. So I'm listening to a lot of podcasts and just learning. It's more of like a recent thing, but learning about all those like ancient societies and cultures and stuff like that. I've really latched onto that. So any kind of like storytelling method, whether it's through a movie, TV, video game, podcast, whatever, I'm really getting into that. Reading as well, books.
Yeah, and I remember when you first got into podcasts, because we were talking about audiobooks and stuff like that. And I had asked you, oh, how many you listened to this year, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, how about you? And I was like, you know what? I've been doing podcasts all this year. Like ever since I started working at the DOT, I was like, I really haven't, I did a few audiobooks, but podcasts has been it for me. You were like, are those free? And I was like, yes. You're like, where do I get them? And now clearly it's like an obsession. It's the best thing to
Oh
do
my
at
God.
work, I'm telling you.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, I listen literally 10 hours a day. I'm listening to podcasts.
It's
So
there's like such a wide range. And once you finish one that's like talking about criminal cases that are still open, you can go to like ancient underwater mysteries and stuff like that. It's podcasts are the best.
I've heard
Yeah.
the Hey Babe podcast with Sal from Impractical Jokers.
That is
It's pretty
all over
funny.
TikTok, dude. I haven't listened to
I
it.
heard it's pretty funny. Yeah. Danny
The
Alvarez.
clips are funny.
It tells me to listen to it. So
I need to
That was my
branch
favorite.
out. I need to branch out more with my podcast. And I know there's audio dramas as well that are supposed to be like really high production and stuff like that.
Yeah.
mhm.
I haven't gotten into anything other than like what I've been listening to, which is just old, like ancient tales.
Gotta shake it up. There's one
I have
podcast
to-
that I
yeah.
listened to with Rami Malek or Rami Malek.
He has a podcast. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Well, it's
He
not,
hosts
it
it?
was an audio drama, like you said.
Okay.
He was the
Oh,
main
okay.
actor for it. And I thought it was amazing, and they canceled it halfway through the season. I was
Oh.
like, I was devastated. It was so good because you hear the sounds from cars and from planes and all the
No, it's
music and
literally
stuff.
like
Awesome.
it's like listening to a TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they
Like
put
the
even
production
more
quality,
effort into
it's
it
insane.
that as well,
Yeah.
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 because
And honestly, even some of the audiobooks, depending on which one you're listening to, like the Star Wars audiobooks, are incredibly high production. You hear like the sound effects from the ships and the blasters, and the if they're on like a populated planet, you'll hear people in the background and stuff like that. It's really good. So before I got into podcasts, it was all audiobooks. I was subscribed to Audible for a while. I have like over 100 books that I
Yep.
have in my library and stuff like that. So I did a lot of that too.
Nice.
There you go.
Good. Glad to hear it. So, skipping around here in our questions list, what is one of your biggest pet peeves?
Arrogance. People
Really?
who think that is one of the most irritating things ever. And I think it's more because of my job. I work in a machine shop. So, I mean, there are guys who've worked there for over 40 years. And you get a new guy who comes in and is getting trained on one of these machines. And this guy who's been working on that machine for over 40 years is telling you to do this one thing. And you're like, nah, I'll do it this way.
You think they're hot stuff.
And then you have to deal with that person on a regular basis, having to train them on things. And they're like, no, I don't think I'm going to do it like that. Like, well, just, you don't know everything.
Yeah.
And that's our generation and the generation coming after us.
Yeah.
It's so irritating. Our generation is so irritating.
I can't stand us.
We are
We're the worst.
We're
split.
We're in that weird spot where we're like
in
between
between
millennials and Gen Z. So yeah, it's kind of, and we
We're
get
on
you know
the
what,
younger end of.
and the problem
the
is
millennials.
we get the worst traits from both of those. So it's like, it's
But we
terrible.
also get the best.
We
We're
do.
old enough to have played outside when we were kids and known the outside world, but also grew up with cell phones
and
and
technology
social media.
and all that. Yeah, that's true.
So
You know what stinks? Jace keeps doing this. He was. I think he'll still do it. We'll be like, Jace, we're not even in the same generation. That's how wide the gap is. But we are in the same generation.
technically we are, yeah.
yeah.
Us and
Nine-
Jace, yeah.
Ew,
90s
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Technically, I think what was it? 96 was the cutoff. So like
Yeah.
we're just.
But it's a
there.
certain month in 90.
Yeah,
it was
it's like
the
certain
way
month,
it's done
yeah.
is weird. But Jason,
I mean,
we'll always tell him, no, we're not the same generation as you. And he's like, look it up. You're the same generation. I'm like, no, I'm not.
At least it
Oh.
doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, no.
My sister-in-law, she was born in, I think it was 2006. And it's just weird to hear. I mean, she's
And
14
you're
now.
still going.
2000 and?
And?
There's more?
Yeah. So she's 14. So you
Yeah.
talk to her and it's like, okay, you're talking to like someone around your general age group. She's 10 years younger. But then you hear 2006, you're like, you should be like 3.
Yeah.
dude, you're not lying.
It's like, it hurts
Dude.
my
Yeah.
brain to think of that. It's
2000.
so weird.
She was
Only
10.
feels
I was
10
10 when
years
she
ago.
was born. So yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I saw this picture, like, if you think about it, when you get your ID checked for getting a drink, as long as they see 1990 in there, you're good.
You're
If
good.
there's a 1,
I
you're
was
good.
21.
Yeah.
There's no
21.
yeah, we're 21 years into the 2000s, so they don't have to look at you just have to see 19.
don't
See,
you
this is
feel
why I
old?
hate math.
Don't
This
you
is
feel
why I
old
hate
now?
math. It hurts.
crazy.
I don't like it. No.
And
I
you
see
know what?
that.
Nobody scans my ID. Do I look like I'm 30? Because when I turned 21, I went everywhere.
Oh,
And
that's an
wanted to get my
embarrassing
card
story,
ID.
Going to the wine spirit.
I think my first
Exactly.
like 4 or 5 restaurants I didn't get a
Tell me
check.
next
I
week.
get carded incessantly. It's
I-
so
I
irritating.
never
Write
do
that down for
anymore.
your
I
MVD.
never do.
Oh my god, everywhere for every
That's-
little thing.
And I used to think it was like, oh, maybe because I
don't.
hadn't shaved yet. But even when I am shaved, I still don't get carded. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Never. I've gotten carded maybe 3 times since I've turned 21. Legitimately.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I wish I had that problem.
Even at restaurants. Even
Yeah.
and before, like the day before I turned 21, if I took a sip of my mom's pina colada, the manager would run over to me and smack it on my hand, asking if I'm 21. And I'm not gonna lie. So I'm
But you
like,
know what
no, sir.
You know what I think it is too? I think it's like the confidence of just like you can
Yeah.
get the drink. So
100%.
You just ask for it, like, oh yeah, can I get this? And they're just like, yeah, whatever.
You know the
Oh my
one
God.
time I didn't get carded
It was when you weren't.
when we
so
had
anyone-
when I wasn't 21, we were in what was it, New Britain for the photo plug, and we walked in. It was like super cold, and we walked into the first building we saw just to warm up, to thaw out our hands.
I remember
And
that.
it turned out to be like
It was like a
it was like a
bar wing
bar-
place. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, but it was like an upscale one.
hmm
And the guy came over to me. I was wearing a suit and tie, and I think I was like 19, 20 around there. And he came up to me, he was like, "You want a whiskey?" And I was like, "No, sir, I don't."
No, sir, please. He was like, I want whiskey.
But yeah, I was like, "Yeah, I'm like, no, you're 21."
Oh, my
"Oh, okay, well, if you want anything, just let me know." And I was like, "All right, sure."
Oh,
thanks."
goodness.
Oh, my
man.
goodness.
Wiley, you asked that last question, right?
I did correct. Yeah.
Okay. So Kyler, in a world where there is no COVID in 2021, where would you like to go tomorrow, what country anywhere in the world?
Europe.
It's a continent.
Just Europe. I want to go
Just all over Europe?
Yeah.
You
yeah.
gonna backpack it? Or
Something like
more
that. I mean, we were actually, before everything hit, we were looking at Groupons because when we got married, we actually got our honeymoon off of Groupon.
Yeah.
It was like a crazy deal to Greece, 9 days in Greece, hotel and airfare included for like $600 each.
I got some crazy.
And it was insane, yeah.
And you
So
switched
we
from
started
Ireland?
looking up other ones that we could do, and they have them all over Europe. And if you don't get the hotel, you can just do like an Airbnb thing.
Mhm.
So I think the
True.
next place we were looking at was France, and that's why we started learning it. But I mean, I've always loved England. I want to go to London, Ireland. Just we went to Greece already, but I'd love to go to Italy and all that stuff too. So pretty much just all of Europe. That's my goal.
Quick,
You know,
quick
ask
side
me
note.
this in my interview. I want to talk about that.
Quick side note, Kyler. I think you mentioned this to me. Didn't they ask you to upgrade the business class, and it was like $8,000 per ticket to do that?
No, they didn't ask.
Oh,
It was actually more.
Oh.
So, Chris, we had our honeymoon, and we didn't spend as much as we had expected. We still had a pretty decent cushion left. It was all in euro. So we were at the airport waiting for our flight back home, and I was like, "What do you think of going to the kiosk and asking how much it would cost to upgrade to first class?" And she's like, "Yeah, okay." So I walk over and I hand the guy our passports, and he's like, "Oh, just give me a second." And he looks it up and he goes, "So that'll be $16,000 each." And I said, "Can I have my passports back, please?"
$16,000.
$16,000 each.
That's crazy. 32,000.
Almost peed a little bit.
go.
I was like, they
For a
were walking
plane
home.
ticket?
For a plane ticket.
Holy
It was
cow.
11 and a half hours, if I'm
Oh.
not mistaken.
Yo, it
But,
really.
I mean,
A car.
we flew United Arab Emirates.
yeah, that's why.
So it was like a super comfortable ride. The food was actually delicious.
I would hope so.
In regular economy.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't imagine what first class is gonna be like. And then they said that I was like, okay,
Cabin.
well, it gave me a whole new perspective on people I pass going
Yeah.
to economy.
And
seat
Walking
first
to
versus
that
class.
first
sitting there,
class
like,
building. The little
how much did you pay for that ticket? It's nuts.
That's Casey Neistat got
Gets it for free.
he gets the most expensive plane seats in the world for free because he advertises them, which is the coolest thing. He built his YouTube channel around doing daily vlogs and all this stuff, and he had like monthly episodes where he would take the craziest plane seat, the most expensive ones, and they would advertise it, so they would pay for it, and he would just document the whole thing. So he would go to Japan and get silk pajamas with 5-course meals,
Must
a
be nice.
shower on the plane, a full bed. Like it was
When I say he had his
insane.
own little cabin room, he had his own little cabin room. It had a full bed.
It looked like Air Force One, bro.
That's crazy.
So
yeah, I'll
Shout
take
out to
my
Casey.
uncomfortable seat with a toddler kicking me in the back for
Yeah.
a reasonable price.
Yeah.
that's part of the vacation, the crowded flight. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but
Let's switch it up. Let's random question. What's your favorite place to eat?
Favorite place to eat? Sushi House in Southington.
yes,
Quick.
yes.
I
Now,
just
what's-
got,
I
I just got
absolutely-
sushi.
I'm obsessed with sushi.
I'm literally
absolutely
waiting for
adore
sushi when we're done with
sushi.
this podcast. Like I'm literally.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Yes. So
Sushi
I've
House
been trying
and
to get Joey into that.
a close second, just to throw it out there, is Fuji Steakhouse, hibachi.
Let's put up a
Close
picture of the balloon hat that Kyler had.
Yeah, no, we
no,
don't have.
no.
That's another very embarrassing story,
That's true.
which we
I
will
forgot
not tell
about that
right
one.
now.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that
I
was
was
when
going
we
through-
met Wendy for the first time in
That's
person.
right.
It was that
yeah.
day?
Yeah.
That was that day.
Wow.
Wendy's.
That was my
wife, so-
introduction. So
Yeah. That is
Yeah.
hilarious, man.
that was nice.
Fuji
And
is
I'm the one
rocking.
who gave him the tip. What a jerk. Continue.
Bro, it took me a second to figure out what he
I knew immediately. I'm like across
Yeah.
the table. I'm like,
Yo,
yo,
I
look
looked
at
at
Yeah.
it. I looked at it. I was like,
He's like, you like the hat? Wait, cut that out. That was wrong. You gotta cut that out. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me explain.
Live television. You would
Let me explain.
right then and there.
Can we go to commercial? Because Darian's gonna get canceled again. We gotta go to commercial.
Yo, put it when a
No.
broadcast breaks out. Goes.
Yeah,
Oh,
the producers
Obama.
talk to me. Listen, they like the Christopher Walken one. Tell me what's the difference?
I love how quickly you caught it.
Because I said it and then I was like, oh.
Immediately, he's like, wait.
He's like, no, that's racist.
Let me explain. So I can do a British accent. I can say stuff like I'm talking to you right now, bruv, and no one's gonna make fun of me. No one's gonna cancel me because of that. But then the minute I go to Japanese, which is also an accent, now I'm gonna get canceled. All right.
Well,
Come on,
we're leaving that in there. We'll see what happens. How about that?
Oh,
Moving on.
it's so
'Cause I
bad.
like.
Anyway.
God.
I'm gonna have to go to like. You know what? We're done. Move on.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I was listening to the last episode again, and I busted out laughing out loud, super loud, when you started going on your Joe Biden corn pop little tangent. I lost it.
I watch that minimum once a week. The Ray he did about
Oh,
like,
my
Corn
God.
Pop's a bad dude. We're gonna move on.
My throat hurts.
Go ahead, Wiley. You gotta move on.
All right.
I need
Yeah,
that
let's-
timestamp on
let's
the
keep it
YouTube
going.
video.
Oh, man. All right. I'm going to jump for time purposes. Let's get to some listener questions here. The first question on here is, do you sleep in a suit?
Yes, I do. And tie.
We knew it.
Yep.
We knew it.
Yep.
Is it made of
Clearly.
All silk.
No, wool.
Oh,
Nice and
Oh,
not
man.
breathable.
it's like Anchorage, Alaska. Good lord, you're American.
Also, number 2 question, how dare you? No.
Yeah, I saw that. And I was like, who in the world put that one?
He knows who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Number 3, what's the weirdest thing you do?
I talk to myself a lot. Like full on conversations. If I'm driving, my dad and I work together. So we carpool a lot, but sometimes we'll take different separate cars for whatever reason. And if I'm not listening to a podcast, I'm probably having a conversation with myself.
I kind of vaguely remember this growing up with you.
Mhm.
I kind of vaguely remember riding in the car and we're doing our own thing, and you're in the corner no, because then if I do this, then no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, hi, Kyler, how are you? Oh, I'm good, Kyler. Things. It's not
Like you're
like
a
that.
It's
I'm
kind of
not-
like thinking out
yeah,
loud, right?
It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like split personality syndrome. I'm just like thinking out loud. If I have to have a conversation with someone about something at work, then I'm going over the conversation. Oh, maybe I'll say this and they'll respond with that. And then I can say that. Or, oh, what am I going to do today? Oh, I have to start with bending, and then I'll sand some blades and do some etching and stuff like that. So it's stuff like that.
That's
but
not bad.
I do that fairly frequently. Is
All
that
right.
weird? That's weird, right?
That's not weird.
Yeah, it's not that weird.
Plenty of people.
If that's
think
what
I'm
you think is the weirdest thing you do, then I guess. Yeah. But...
I don't know. I bite my fingernails. Is that still
I
considered weird?
stopped.
And
I
Let
know.
me tell you.
Congrats.
We all know why you stopped.
Nah,
Because
different
I
reason.
made the conscious decision to better my sanitary.
Mm.
Joey, move on. Next question right there is number 3. It starts with what?
How?
It's gonna be the. Oh no, how?
No. How does he get his hair so beautiful?
Did someone ask that?
Yeah. What's
Yeah, I
your, what's
guess
your
so.
hair routine? Like when you wake up. in
Answer the
morning,
question.
Do you wake up with
Um,
perfect hair?
Well, you kind of wet your fingertips a little bit, run it through your hair, get it a little damp. I have American Crew Fiber. We're sponsored by American Crew, by the way. Just like a pea-sized amount. Mix it in with your hands, run it through your hair until your hair is dry. Mix of blow drying, 2 combs, and practice.
Wow, we cannot have any opposite types of hair. I need like a bucket of
For real.
water. Like
I remember
I can't blow dry my hair, or I will have an afro of a comb over. It'd be up here combing it over.
my
That's
dad,
crazy.
before I knew how to do it, my dad used to do it for me. And my dad is 6'1", I think. So we're slightly different heights. So I'd have to stand on top of a toilet. I remember when Darren would sleep over our house, he would ask my dad if he could do his hair too. And
Oh,
my
no.
dad would look at me and just be like, I really don't think I can, man. His hair is like a carpet. So he'd be like trying to push our comb through your hair and he kept getting stuck.
Yeah. Because Joey literally just like that. Just like that. I'm just like,
Emily's stuck.
yeah. Because you guys would use hairspray,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't just be like
I
a little,
believe that.
it'd be like,
No, my dad, when he had hair, because he's bald now, but when he had hair, he'd use like half a can to like shellac his hair into place. And
Yeah.
it looked like he was like a Puerto Rican Johnny Bravo. His hair was on point all the time.
Yeah.
not wrong.
But it took a substantial amount of product to do that.
I remember that. That's funny. Okay, moving on. What is one thing that you wish more people knew about you? Like, one thing that you wish more of your friends knew or people you meet knew about you?
I'm not obsessed with the way that I look because according to Joey's
Joey.
answers for everything on that interview or the Q&A
Q&A.
episode, it made me look pretty shallow. I pride myself on my intelligence. I'm a pretty smart guy.
You're a debonair, dashing man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I don't really know how else to respond.
Joey,
to
exit
that.
stage left, please. We're gonna finish this interview. Just the two of us hosts, all right?
I got
You're
distracted.
crossing some epic boundaries here.
Sorry, I got distracted.
Oh, man.
But yeah. I like to know a little bit about everything. So that no matter what the topic is, I can have a conversation about it. So I'll look up. Actually, a little while ago, I was looking up quantum mechanics on Wikipedia, and then a little later, I was listening to a story about like Vikings.
There you go.
So I try to have a
opposite
pretty
sides of
broad
the spectrum
spectrum.
there.
Yeah.
I remember when I got my car. What is it? The guy was locking up the whole shop, Mazda shop, and Darian pulled out some sports stuff. He doesn't know nothing of sports. Darian knows nothing of sports. I know
What?
nothing of sports.
Darian knows about
Remember?
sports. Darian
No,
doesn't.
I know
Football.
nothing about
It was
football.
football.
He don't know
It
about
was
football.
Yeah, I know sports. I don't know
pulled out
nothing
random
about
team.
football.
He pulled out random name, and the guy was agreeing with him the whole time. And they had like a 5-minute
Okay.
conversation. I was like, "What?"
I'm
So
gonna tell you the secret
Darian-
to it after. Go ahead, Kyler.
Darian has a gift of convincing people with his
That
confidence
he
alone.
knows what he's talking
If he
about.
says it
That is true.
with enough confidence, he will make you believe he knows exactly what he's talking about and that he actually knows more than you do. Where he's making it up the entire time as he's going with it. And then at the end of the conversation, he'll let you know, I have no idea anything I just said.
Yep.
That was
he just
pulled
says it
out of
with
the air
conviction.
completely. And I actually don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's very simple. There's certain key words you have to just mention, especially with football fans. They are so easy. And you could tell when you're talking to someone who knows
Tread
their
lightly.
stuff.
Tread lightly.
Careful.
Tony's
Okay.
listening.
Okay.
Tony's listening.
Let me explain. Tony is an
You're
example.
gullible.
Yeah.
No.
Dumb.
Ooh,
No.
Go hit man. Oh.
There are football fans. Let me clarify this before I get berated here.
shoot.
There are football fans that know their stuff and that I won't mess. Like if I go to a Super Bowl party and you guys are there and Gary's there and Wes is there and your dad's there and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna mess with this. Clearly, I'm not gonna be able to get it over.
Out
But
of
if
my
I'm talking,
league.
if I'm talking to someone at a Mazda shop, I'll mention someone I know. All right. I'll say a team I know, someone I know on that team, and I'll say we're looking good this year. I'll say like the boys are looking real good this year. They're pushing it real hard.
You really do.
And then you guys say they got to run it a little bit harder through the middle though. You say something like that, and they're like, shoot, I didn't even think about that. Man, you're right. They keep going on the outside, stuff like that.
Oh, look who's in the back. Who's making the entrance?
Oh shoot.
Who's
Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay.
Forget
All right,
them.
Thing
Forget
with
them.
D,
No, it's Roy and Leslie.
Darian can't lie on
They
the
brought
spot.
us sushi.
Oh.
What's up? Special
I-
appearance
I-
by Roy
Darian
and
can't lie on
Leslie.
the spot. He could be so convincing, but
He
once you put him
can.
on the spot like that, he can. Every time,
It
every
really
time
does
he's
depend on the
spot,
situation.
He hasn't been able to pull through.
He did
This
it
is
in the.
about Darian.
Didn't he just do it like 2 episodes ago where Kyler was talking about something and Darian was just like, but is it really? And Kyler was like, wait, I don't know.
No, I called him on it. I was like, you don't know. He was like, nah, I don't. But actually, it's switching because now I'm actually able to get into your head and make you believe something or believe something other than what you think.
This isn't about me.
3 times in
It's
one
about
episode.
you, Kyler.
This is about you.
Yo, he's the host now.
I know. He's like,
Yeah.
good to have you.
I'm
I'm
interviewing
hosting this
myself.
episode. That's lights out for the Light Bulb podcast.
Oh my goodness.
So-
I think I am right.
Oh yeah, who's up? I forgot.
I am. I'll go in order. All right. If the average, all right, this is a hypothetical.
Oh wait, no, this was my turn.
This is your. Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
I wanted to ask this question because I
Okay,
don't
go
know who asked it on Instagram,
Yeah.
but
I said, who
I like
asked
it.
it? It was Angel Cruz. Angel Cruz asked it. I remember that.
okay, cool. So
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna rephrase it a little bit. If you knew you were gonna die at 40 years old, how would you live your life differently here on out?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Well, I've actually already gotten quite a few milestones. I'm married. I have my own place. I have a pretty stable job. I definitely want to travel more, which I mean, I would be right now if it wasn't for what's going on in the world and the fact that it's illegal to do so. Honestly, that's probably the one thing I'd concentrate on. I want to see as much of the world as I possibly could before 40, I guess. That'd be, I remember growing up, that was one of my things. I really wanted to see the 7 wonders of the world in person.
True.
Which I guess is still kind of up there in things I want to do, but now having listened to all these like podcasts and read all these things, I want to see places more than things. So that's probably what it would be.
It's a good answer. I want to see the
Yeah.
pyramids.
I agree with that.
I like
Did you
that.
see the dude?
I
who
hear
climbed
they're
the
not all
pyramids in
that.
15 minutes.
What?
Yeah, he climbed all the way to the top, which is illegal. First of all, you can't climb
Yeah.
on the pyramid bricks, and he made it to the top. I'm pretty sure it was 15 minutes. GoPro, everything. The whole video is there.
That's
Did he get arrested
crazy.
when he got down?
I'm sure he did. They probably brought him back on camera or something. Pretty sure that spot.
Darian.
No, it's true. If they bring you there,
They
on
don't-
The
camera.
way it
They have
sounds.
vehicles. They have vehicles.
They have vehicle. There's a McDonald's like right at the bottom. of the
Egypt's not a
pyramid.
third world country, like I know. I'm saying when you get to the pyramid area,
It's the
there's
tone
always
of voice. It's
camels.
the tone of voice. Next question.
Next question.
That's a good
This is
question,
too
though.
much for me.
What's something you know you do differently than most people? Besides talking to yourself.
Something I know I do differently.
You don't have to overthink. It could be a simple task that you do completely
I
different.
know. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty average.
Just a therapy session.
Yeah.
How does that make you
Special.
feel?
I really, I don't know.
The way
Can
you
we come
get
back to that
dressed.
question?
The way you get dressed. Yeah, sure we can. If you
Oh,
want to.
okay. I'm very methodical to the point where it's almost like an obsession. I have a lot of things that I wear when I go to work. I have like a time card. I have a belt with like a utility tool clip and all this stuff, and my knives and key and stuff like that. And it has to be lined up in the exact same way, in the exact same place every night before I go to bed. And if not, I like can't sleep. I don't know if that's,
You have a
does that
little
count?
OCD.
I don't know.
I guess maybe than most people, that sounds exactly like my wife. And you know what? If she can't sleep, that means I can't sleep. Everything got to be perfect because
Yeah.
it's pretty
And
bad.
if I'm thrown
Actually,
off of my
yeah.
routine in any way, then I'm an absolute mess.
Don't
You're
you
not
like
wrong.
start
There's certain
forgetting
things
things?
that I do, yeah.
Don't you start like forgetting like things during the day if it's out
What
of
if
order?
one thing is off, then the rest of my day is like it's a mess. Which I guess that's kind of a bad thing.
It
'Cause
is.
that means I'm really easily thrown.
you
Dude.
could someone could easily murder you because they know your entire routine.
Oh,
Yeah.
Facts.
God. It would
Yeah.
be so easy. I would get killed so fast. And not because I'm throwing myself at death like Darian, but just because I'm so like easy to track and everything.
I don't appreciate the way you said that, Gaylord. All right. I had something to say.
That you had routines also.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I'm gonna have like a spontaneous day or something like that, where like I'm gonna be like Saturday, we're just gonna do whatever. I need to know beforehand that day is going to be spontaneous, which
Yes.
takes away from the spontaneity of it all. But
I like knowing what's gonna happen.
I'm a planner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Itinerary
I don't like leaving
100%.
things to last minute. Yeah.
Man.
Every once in a while, I'll take like the other maybe 2 weeks ago. I was at work and I'm sanding blades, which is the most irritating, tedious, backbreaking thing ever.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? I'm taking a half day today. And I took a half day and it wasn't planned and it was great. At 11 o'clock, I just walked out and everyone at my job, you have to walk down a main aisle to leave. And if people see you with like your jacket and your bag and stuff like that, everyone just starts screaming. Like, oh, where are you going?
It's like when you
Yeah.
were
And the
like when
whole
you were
shop
a kid in school and your
erupts.
mom would pick you up early for something. And you're
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Best
So the
feeling.
whole shop freaks out. They erupt. And it's nice because then you leave and you're like, haha, you guys have to keep working and I'm getting paid to leave.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good feeling. And I just came home and Crystal, she was FaceTiming her family. And I just took a shower, watched some YouTube, relaxed, and had like a little extra day, which was
Good
just
on
pretty
you. A
nice.
mental health day.
That's not bad.
Everyone
Yeah.
needs one of
Everyone
those.
needs, it's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. I like that. I am like
I'm
that though. I
jealous.
like to plan. So like if something gets
Mm.
sprung up on me randomly or spontaneously, in my head I was already planning to do one thing. I throws me all out of whack.
Yeah,
I
it's
hate it.
Dude.
I
frustrating.
hate it.
That was like
I'm
our
like I was already
2016
mentally prepared
Florida
for
trip.
this.
Joey, you remember,
Ugh.
bro? Okay, not the 2017 one in New York.
No,
'cause
I know,
we're
I
good.
know, but I'm remembering the stories from what
Yeah.
you told
Yeah.
me on that trip, and it's
So
just
we're
irritating.
good.
That'll ruin my
The
vacation.
four of us, we could mesh. We were
Mhm.
very structured. We'd
Plan
be
a
like, all right,
Japan
8 o'clock, we're up. Yeah. This, I'm not going to go into too much detail. We'll do it in another episode. But just the last day before we had to leave to the airport, and I'm throwing out names here, Manny, because I know Manny's not watching at this point in the podcast, but you know, if he is, he'll
might
text
be.
me.
He might be. Yeah.
Yeah, if he is, he'll text me. This dude, we had to leave to the airport, and Manny is the most bougie dude, just folding clothes, putting on the dude,
But yeah, he's always calling us
taking his
bougie.
time.
Yeah.
Oh my
Exactly, he's
God.
taking his time, and we're like, we gotta go. I'm in the car, I'm ready to go. He's still packing his stuff,
I
and I'm
hate
like,
being
Jose,
late.
go in, get Manny, dude. We gotta go. We got to the airport so late, they were making the final call of our names for that flight when we were going through security. Insane. It was.
I
No, I
hate
can't
being
do
late.
The stress.
Ugh.
If I'm
Ah,
10 minutes early,
That's my
I'm
biggest
like
thing.
15 minutes late.
Yeah.
It's insane. I mean, when we went to
I
Florida,
agree.
we left what, like
I
4
was
hours
so stressed.
early, and the car
Wait, when did
broke
we leave?
down.
Oh yeah,
We
you went
were
to
going
JFK,
to-
right?
dude,
the
JFK, we almost-
radiator, everything like messed up.
The
right?
radiator, my
Oh,
parents'
going there.
car just like
Oh, no.
decided to
I was talking about
explode
coming back.
halfway there.
Yeah,
There was
what is it?
9 car accidents.
Right.
Yeah. Tony hit
We
the
had to
brake hard,
sprint
and
to
I
the
was like,
gate.
in the middle of the
You know
seat.
why? Because the dude that did your guys' oil change in that car forgot to put the cap
On the antifreeze,
Yep.
right?
on the antifreeze, and it went all over the windshield when he hit the brakes because there
Car
was
was
like some
smoking.
car accident up ahead,
Mm.
and we slammed on him. And I was
That's
like,
terrible.
dude, yeah,
That's a-
everything that could have
That's
went wrong that
that's
day.
a sitcom or a movie episode type of like
Oh my
movie
God.
type.
But
thing.
It was-
going to
was
the
the
airport to
worst.
come back, our Uber driver went off the road on the highway. Dude, we were taking
Talking about
a car-
Jesus,
I don't-
bad breath Jesus. You talking about?
No, no, that's another story.
That's
That
so
was the
out of
Uber that-
context.
The $50 tip
Oof.
guy.
It was a van, and we were on the
Oh,
highway,
yeah.
No, that was Moises.
and he goes on the grass, and we all look at each other like, "Oh my goodness!" I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah. We
Florida-
had some rough Uber
Florida's
drivers.
a whole nother level though. That's why it's like
Craziest people in the world come from Florida and the Bronx. Stick to it.
yeah.
Next question.
Moving on. Kyler. Important question here. The viewers want to know. What got you hooked on Star Wars? What was that moment that you knew I'm in?
Ooh. I'm like 7. I'm at Blockbuster. RIP. I have some kind of like animated, I think, Avengers movie in my hand. And my dad walks me over and says, "You're going to watch this." And it was Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. Yoda was on the cover. And I look at him and say, "I don't want to watch a movie with Muppets on it." And he goes, "Just trust me, you'll love it." I finished it. I went up to him. I said, "Are there more?" And he goes, "Yeah." And that was it. I was hooked.
Man, I wish I had a cool story like that. I don't even remember how I got into Star Wars.
I don't
Me.
remember.
I showed you
It was
episode
probably
3.
you.
You know
Episode
what?
3
Oh, D.
I think
It
you're
was you
right.
guys.
at my house, and then
Yeah.
I quizzed you. I gave you the whole list
You're
of
right.
everyone's family tree, and I quizzed you on it in my room.
Well, there we go. That is a cool story.
I think my
That-
Uncle
that was-
Wheelo got me on Star
That was how my
Wars.
sleepovers went.
I know, just quizzing us on Star
Me
Wars.
quizzing my
trivia.
friends on Star Wars
What a loser.
against their will. They didn't
You
have
want a piece of
choice.
cake? You're gonna have to answer this question.
One time I hit Kyler in the back with a sword and he started crying to his dad about it. I'll never forget
I
that.
knew that story was gonna come up. I knew it.
Because there ain't nothing like being scolded by your friend's parents. 'Cause you know you messed up when that happened. And I don't know, he just had a weak back or something. I hit him in the back with the sword. And he ran
fake
out there
sword.
crying.
Listen,
My dad-
a fake sword. Let's
It was a-
be
yeah, it was a
clear
my
on that.
my dad whittles. So I had all these like wooden everything. I had wooden swords and wooden knives, and he whittled all the symbols from the Justice League out of wood. So we're playing with them, and Darian decides to just crack me in the back with a wooden sword. I'm 7. Yeah, that hurt.
It was a light tap. You ran out the room. All right. And I just sat down there and I was like waiting. I was like, someone's coming. I just know I'm gonna have to deal
I
with
would
this.
not want to be scolded by Tony.
No, so I'm waiting there. And Tony just comes in and he's like, "What's going on, D?" He's like,
That's even worse.
Sat you down, all gentle.
yeah. He was
Oh
like,
my
"You just
God.
got to be careful." All right. 'Cause you hit him hard. And I was like, sorry, man. I didn't know. It's those moments you don't forget.
Kyler's the
Oh my
height he is
God.
now. It's already past the growth spurt.
He actually just
Yeah,
hit me in the
we were
back of the
19
leg.
So- Tony,
3 years ago.
Tony walked in carrying Kyler.
We were just LARPing in my room.
He's got Kyler on his back. He's just his back.
Petting him. He let out a little burp.
All right. Kyler, that brings us to the last question.
Oh,
Um, Not sure who submitted this one, but how many child-sized Kylers do you think you could fight off?
Is that actually the question?
Yes.
That is the question.
How many can you?
I wouldn't fight them. I'd sit them down and have an intellectual conversation with them.
Dude, I believe that.
Well,
I would
it's-
subdue
I
them with
believe
my
they,
wit and
they'd all
charm.
make an alliance.
Yeah.
they'd be
and we'd
"Wow,
make
you bring
one
some really
giant
good points
Kyler."
to the table.
Or one average-sized Kyler, whichever one.
You'll form
We'd
like
make a normal-sized human being.
they'll form up like Power Rangers, Mighty
Yeah.
Morphin time.
like that regular show episode with all the ducks. The little
A
ducks.
bunch of
Step
baby dogs.
off.
That's my
Step
favorite episode.
off.
Oh man. We'd have an in-depth conversation about Clarks and Thursday boots.
Oh God.
Well, Kyler, for most of the podcast, it's been a privilege having you here.
Most.
Most, yeah.
It's such like
truly,
a underhanded compliment.
I know.
So passive
yeah, you
aggressive.
smell different than I thought you would.
You actually smell pretty
Oh
good.
god.
It's surprising.
It's really rude.
All right. Well, I think we answered all the listeners' questions and ran through most of the stuff. So that's going to be a wrap on episode 2 of our interview series. Episode 3 and 4 is obviously going to be me and Joey. Not sure what order yet. We're just going to spin the wheel and find out. Look for that in a
Well,
few weeks.
We could probably just tack on Joey's interview to like the back of yours because he's not going to be saying much. It's just
do a
going to be really
collab.
quiet.
We're going to juice Joey out during that interview.
I'm
We're gonna get it
interested.
all out.
I'm interested in Joey's because he didn't
Yep.
grow up with us like in our younger
Joey's-
years. So
Joey's just a question mark. He's an
Really,
anomaly.
exactly,
So we have to squeeze the lore out of you.
I want to know.
It's going to be a good interview.
Yeah.
All right.
If he actually talks and answers, it'll be a good interview.
He's never mind. I'm not gonna
All right.
say
And
it.
next week's episode is going to be, what is it? Unsolved Mysteries. Is that what we're doing?
Believe so.
What?
That seems like the plan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tentatively Unsolved Mysteries. Right now.
Or just a big WandaVision. We are going to be doing a WandaVision finale reaction.
Yes, next Friday, hopefully.
That's a little special episode, so stay tuned for that. It should be pretty good.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, I think officially that is lights out on the Lights Pole podcast. How did I? It's not the lights
Lights.
pole. It's the
I'll
light
do it this
pole.
time.
There ain't no multiple.
And
Let's
with
pass it
that
over
in
to Joe.
mind,
It's the lights.
that's lights out on the late light pole podcast.
Yeah.
It's not the lights.